Ah, yes. Another day, another Disney live-action remake of one of its own highly popular and successful movies, which of course was originally someone else's story that they profited off of. That is one hell of a system. In this case, we have Peter Pan and Wendy, based of course off the 1953 classic Peter Pan. I wonder if Disney's decided to reimagine it in an attempt to appeal to today's progressive modern audiences.
Are you...
Lost boys.
Every last one of us.
But you're not all boys. So?
The trailer starts with a sweeping shot of a beach where Ever Jovovich, goodness gracious, she looks just like her mom, is staring at what looks to be pixie dust on her hands, complete with the voiceover of who must be Captain Hook, asking her how she came to Neverland. She seems far too old to be the classic Wendy, and I'm not sure why it's filtered like this, but even the beach looks dark, but fine, let's continue. When she makes her way up the cliff, she's encountered by a group in the distance. She begins to ask them who they are, and the cast of what looks like a 1980s Benetton ad responds that every last one of them are Lost Boys. Wendy makes the mistake of noticing that they are, in fact, not all boys, because I'm assuming here that she's from early 20th century London and can tell the difference between boys and girls. That's a big mistake.
But you're not all boys. So?
Awesome. 24 seconds in, I think we can see where this is going. We then see John, who, holy hell, actually looks like John, walking alongside a lost girl. John asks where they are, and she informs him that it's home and that Peter found it like he found all of them. It is, of course, not in the base of Hangman's Tree as it was in the 1953 classic because of reasons, I guess. We get a quick cut from the bow of what seems like Hook's pirate ship as it flies over London. And yes, like I thought, this is clearly set in the same Edwardian period as the Disney classic. Keep that in mind. We see a shot of a kid that looks to be the little drummer boy from the Rankin Bass Christmas special in a window waving a sword. And the first thought is, wait, is this Peter? Michael stares at him and asks, Peter Pan? And in 2023 Disney writer fashion, he not only answers Michael, but each and every one of you who would dare question the casting and says,
Were you expecting someone else?
And before you're finished hanging your head, we get our first shot of the beloved Tinkerbell and, well, shit. Honestly, at this point, what do I expect? Remember now, it's 2023, and Wendy can't be strong the way she was in 1953. So she leads the boys out onto the ledge out of the nursery and asks them if they're ready for an adventure. We get a shot of Hook's ship where they shoot at the kids as they get to Neverland, a quick cut of Mrs. Darling asking, What is it you're afraid of, my love? And a scene of John play sword fighting with Wendy, obviously, in the nursery. Wendy responds that she doesn't want to grow up. Some shots of what will be the indigenous peoples of Neverland, and Tiger Lily, who's dispensing some indigenous wisdom to Wendy. Finally get a shot of Jude Law as Captain Hook as he asks Wendy, Where's Peter Pan? We get a shot of Tiger Lily impersonating Galadriel on horseback, Wendy sword fighting against two grown-ass pirates, and a shot of Hook's ship hovering just off the cliff as the little drummer Pan dives toward it. That's it. That's the whole thing. A couple of weeks ago, I posted a video discussing my thoughts on race, sex, orientation swapping characters, and I'll link it here so I can keep this one shorter. Check it out if you want a more in-depth critique. Here, I'll just say that at this point, anyone that can't see what Disney and literally every other studio is doing is either blind or willfully obtuse. Even if you accepted the horseshit excuse of what we're seeing as blind casting, where studios are just hiring the best actor for the job, regardless of race, sex, etc., the sheer number of times this continues to happen in one direction must mean that white people just forgot how to act. Well, that, or there is a clear decision being made to recast traditionally white or male characters with a diverse actor. I'll let you be the judge. My biggest issue, though, is with the casting of girls as Lost Boys, and the obvious desire to make Wendy strong by making her more like a boy and less like her actual character. The Lost Boys are boys for a damn reason. First, Peter literally explains in the original story that lost boys are little boys who fall out of their baby carriages while their nannies aren't looking, and that girls are too clever for that to happen. So even when the reason given is that they're too damn smart, it's still not seen as a positive for girls. Like Peter himself, the Lost Boys are a metaphor for how boys would never grow into men without the influence of women. For boys, it's not a compliment. That brings us to Wendy. In the trailer, and my guess throughout the entire movie, Wendy suffers from the same thing most female protagonists suffer from at this point, and it's writers who simply cannot understand that women can be strong in different ways than men. For some reason, they seem to think that the only way anyone, man or woman, can show strength is to fist fight or shoot guns or sword fight. Wendy in the classic is incredibly strong. She's the first of the children to grow up, which is why it's ridiculous for them to have altered that main characteristic of her here. It's her calming, motherly influence that drags the boys along. It's what ultimately is needed for the Lost Boys to know that they want to go home and for Peter himself to want to grow up finally. At no point did Wendy have to raise a sword in the classic to be seen as strong, because people understood strength comes in many forms, and specifically feminine strength, as seen in Wendy. Yeah, this looks to be an absolute dumpster fire. I have no desire to sit through this as a movie fan, but I'll likely do it to give an honest review. You guys do what you want. I am not the boss of you.